Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andrew Stott, I'm the Emperor of Stomaria, and today I want to go over some of the changes that we're making to our quarterly reports. Now, for those who don't already know, the Empire of Stomaria, since I think the beginning of 2020, has recorded the holdings in the Imperial Treasury in the form of quarterly reports. So every 3 months we publish a list of all of the holdings that we have in the Imperial Treasury, be it gold or silver, shares in the stock market, cryptocurrencies. And because the Imperial Treasury itself has gone through an evolution as to what it consisted of, the quarterly reports also varied quite wildly over the course of nearly 2 years at this point. But now what I want to do is I'm taking the quarterly reports and I am expanding it further. So the quarterly reports will now not just record the holdings in the Imperial Treasury, but they will also record the number of citizens that we have in Stomaria and also the total amount of land, privately owned land, that is held in Stomaria. And I think this will give a more detailed, more broad picture of where Stomaria is in terms of its progress, in terms of its growth, its development, its expansion. Because obviously there is a lot more to it than just how much gold we have in the Imperial Treasury, or how much silver we have in the Imperial Treasury, or cryptocurrencies, or shares in the stock market, and all the rest of it. And so I just wanted to go over the future outlook of the quarterly reports, what we're going to be detailing, to give you an idea of what you can expect from the sort of first quarterly report in 2022. So of all the things that have changed most frequently within the Empire of Stomaria, it is probably the Imperial Treasury, or the holdings within the Imperial Treasury, that have gone through the most changes, in the sense that we started simply with silver, and then gold, and then we introduced shares in the stock market, and then cryptocurrencies, and then we stopped having shares in the stock market, and then we stopped using all cryptocurrencies except for Bitcoin, and stopped using silver, and we had gold instead, and then gold and Bitcoin, and it's gone through an evolution. But now what I would like to do is, now that we have the silver Stomarian status, and eventually hopefully gold Stomarian status at some point in the future, I would like to turn the Imperial Treasury into somewhere where we record exclusively about the number of Stomarian status that we have in the Imperial Treasury. So shares in the stock market, cryptocurrencies, generic gold and silver bullion, they will no longer be held in the Imperial Treasury as a part of Stomaria. I will personally be continuing to accumulate various cryptocurrencies, various shares in the stock market, and gold and silver, as I always have done. But now the Imperial Treasury will consist exclusively of silver and gold Stomarian status. And as an aside, the silver and gold Stomarian status, they are going to be weighed and recorded in grams and kilograms as opposed to troy ounces. Because, I mean, one of my pet hates about precious metals is this obsession with measuring coins and rounds in troy ounces, which is 31.2 grams or something like that. It's a number that's always bothered me, and now that we have the ability to mint our own coins, we can choose the weights. So the Stomarian status that we have at the moment are 5 stater coins, so they weigh 5 grams. Eventually we will have 1 gram stater coins, 10 gram stater coins, and so on and so forth. But they will all be measured in grams and kilograms. In terms of the land that we report on, that we record, this land will be private property that is held within Stomaria in some capacity. So it'll either be a province, a protectorate, or an associated state, all of which consists of private property. So a province is land that's directly owned by the imperial family and is governed by a member of the imperial family or a member of the Stomarian nobility. A protectorate is land that's owned by the imperial family, but it is governed by the highest authority of another micronation. And an associated state is land that's owned by the highest authority of another micronation, but they are freely associated with Stomaria, they've freely joined Stomaria. So those are the 3 types of territory that we have, the 3 types of land that we have. And again, because for the same reason that we're measuring the gold and silver Stomarian status in grams, we will be measuring the total land mass within Stomaria in meters, or square meters rather, and hopefully eventually square kilometers, as opposed to, say, acres or hectares. So again, we'll be using the metric system. It's just a lot simpler, a lot cleaner. It's easier for people to get their heads around. So that is how we'll be recording and reporting on the land within Stomaria. In terms of the citizen count, we'll be reporting on 3 tiers of citizenship. So you have the imperial family, you have the Stomarian nobility, so lords and ladies, and you have just normal citizens. And the reason that we have to report on these separately is because the way you become, a member of the imperial family is different from a member of the Stomarian nobility or just a normal citizen. So to become a citizen, you just have to join through our Patreon campaign. And to become a Stomarian noble, you also join through our Patreon campaign, but you pay a different rate, a different monthly fee. And become a member of the Stomarian imperial family, well, you need to be a member of the Stomarian imperial family. You need to, well, I suppose, be born into it or marry into it. The reason we differentiate between the imperial family in particular and the Stomarian nobility and the citizenship is because the imperial family does not join Stomaria through Patreon, because we are already a part of the Empire of Stomaria. We are the founders of the Empire of Stomaria, and it wouldn't make sense for us to pay monthly contributions through Patreon, which I'm not sure you can even do, but to become citizens through our own Patreon campaign will just mean that the funds that we send through Patreon will go through the process of having fees taken out of it and then transferred back into our own account. So it doesn't make sense for us to do that. So the imperial family, like I said, there are no monthly fees for members of the imperial family to become Stomarian citizens. We just are Stomarian citizens. Stomarian nobility, they pay a higher monthly fee than Stomarian citizens, and Stomarian citizens, they pay the lowest monthly fee through our Patreon campaign. And so we will report on the numbers of people who fill all 3 of those different tiers. So, as I said earlier, this is just our way of trying to give a more detailed picture of where Stomaria stands, a sort of snapshot to see how far it's, progressed or even regressed, how much, sometimes citizenship will drop off. Sometimes the amount of Stomarian stater coins will be lower than previous quarters. Sometimes the amount of land that we have will be reduced if, you get Micronations that become associated states, but then, a few months later or a year later, or whenever it might be, they decide to go their own way. And then obviously that'll take out a chunk of land out of the Empire of Stomaria. And, we have to take that into account. We have to record that. I am hoping that, everything's going to sort of gradually trickle upwards in the fullness of time, when you zoom out and you have a look at the charts and you can see a sort of positive trajectory. But, there are going to be bumps and hiccups along the way. And, even now, Stomaria is, as of the moment, still, sub 10 citizens, despite, over 1,000 subscribers and 5,000 followers or likes on our Facebook page. There is still a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of convincing that people need to go through in order to, make that commitment to become Stomarian citizens, to join the Empire of Stomaria, either as private citizens or as the heads of other micronations becoming a part of Stomaria. But I am hoping, in the fullness of time that, we'll reach that 10 citizen mark or reach that 100 citizen mark. But unlike a lot of other micronations, we're not going to simply declare everyone associated with Stomaria as a Stomarian citizen, because it means nothing. To become a Stomarian citizen, you need to add value to the project. And the way that we have citizenship set up, where you pay monthly contributions to become a Stomarian citizen, it's our way of ensuring that every citizen that is taken into account contributes financially to the project and therefore adds value to the project. And that's what matters to us. And the same goes for land. If micronations that just claim land, that means nothing to us. You can claim entire cities, you can claim a public park, you can claim the moon. But unless you own that land, it's not going to be recorded in our records, in our quarterly reports. Again, for the Imperial Treasury, the Stomarian Stater coins, it's quite a long process in terms of designing and minting Stomarian Staters, and it's also extremely expensive. So it needs to be worthwhile us minting more Stomarian Staters. It needs to be justifiable, and I'm hoping that it will be justifiable because, we have started the process of using Stomarian Staters within Stomaria, particularly in the Kingdom of Wayward, where, things are going to get hopefully more and more active, and a lot more activity will be taking place there, so a lot more commerce will be taking place there, and the Stomarian Stater will, gradually play a more significant role within the Empire of Stomaria, and hopefully other micronations outside of Stomaria going forward. But again, all of this is a story for another time. I just wanted to make it clear that we will be doing our utmost to give a honest and detailed account of where Stomaria stands on those three fronts, in terms of the Imperial Treasury, in terms of land, and in terms of citizenship. So if you enjoyed that video and you want to play an active part in the development of Stomaria, if you want to contribute towards those quarterly report figures, then please feel free to become a Stomarian citizen through our Patreon campaign, the link of which I shall leave in the description below as always. But otherwise, please feel free to give the video a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll catch you in the next one.